Let's take a look at a video.
Why should we believe that the Pope is infallible? Matthew 16:18 says, "The powers of death," or in Greek, the gates of Hades, "will never prevail against the church." So the church will never die. It makes sense that the pastor of Christ's church will never kill the church by binding it to believe heresy.
So he goes to Matthew 16, and he never shows us where in Matthew 16 it speaks of whether it's Peter or even the apostles, being able to bind and loose ongoing doctrines. So let's look at the passage. Matthew 16, Jesus says, "I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it," his church. We should notice there that the gates of hell not prevailing is not speaking of their offense, it's speaking of their defense, right? The gates, something that keeps things out, will not be able to hold the church back. So it's not about hell killing the church, it's about hell being able to hold off the church's attack. The church is going to be attacking Satan and his minions. And Jesus goes on, "I'll give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven." So they'll have access to the doors. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So some sort of opening and closing of doors into the kingdom of heaven. Now he takes that to refer to binding and loosing doctrine. And so he infers from that, therefore, that Peter and any succeeding pope is able to speak at some point infallibly, because it's impossible for, in his mind, the pope to bind the church to heresy or anything that would kill it. The problem is none of that's here. Like all of that, he just read into the text. And if we actually read how this fits in the narrative, this is what we call an inclusio. An inclusio is a bracketing device in literature that you repeat to connect back to something you've said earlier. So you have right here in Matthew 16, verse 19, "Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven." And if you jump to Matthew 18, verse 20, you're going to see it again, or really it's verse 18. Jesus says, "Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." So it's the exact same phrase, bracketing, and it's closing this section on the church. And what it's doing here is it's telling the church they have the authority to open and close the kingdom, to welcome and excommunicate members, right? Verse 15, "If your brother sins against you," remember, if he never repents, you take it to 2 or 3 of you, and then you bring it before the church. And therefore the church, if he refuses to listen to him, let him be as a Gentile and a tax collector, excommunication. And there it is. "Truly I say to you," you're going to use the keys, Peter and the apostles, "whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven." And he makes it clear this isn't just for Peter and the apostles. This is the church, "For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am among you." This has nothing to do with doctrine. It has nothing to do with binding and loosing infallibly. It has everything to do with opening the keys of the kingdom and shutting them. And he's just made all that up about infallibility.
22:31-32 records Jesus telling Peter, "Satan has demanded to sift you all like wheat, but I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail, and when you have turned again, strengthen your brethren." The original Greek in the passage shows that Satan demanded to sift you all, or all the apostles, but Jesus prayed only for Peter, since he used the singular you, for his faith not to fail.
All right, let's look at it. Jesus says, "Simon, Simon, behold, Satan demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail. And when you've turned again, strengthen your brothers." Peter said to him, "Lord, I'm ready to go with you both to prison and to death." Jesus said, "I tell you, Peter, the rooster will not crow this day till you deny me 3 times that you know me." So clearly, Peter, this isn't an argument for infallibility. I mean, the text right here, Jesus says Peter's going to deny him 3 times. I mean, he's going to be asked if he knows that Jesus is the Christ, if he knows the Messiah. Peter's going to say no 3 times. That's failure. This is not proof texting infallibility. But not only is this clearly the opposite, there's nothing in here about infallibility. The point is quite simple. After Peter denies Christ 3 times and Jesus restores him again, Peter is tasked with strengthening his brothers. Nothing here says Peter is infallible. It's simply, yes, probably Petrine priority, that we see him as the leader among his equals, and he's particularly tasked with strengthening them. But just like in Matthew 16, there's absolutely nothing in here about infallibility.